Namaskar, good evening. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I am Smriti Rastogi with News Tonight. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines. Centre cuts petrol and diesel prices by 2 rupees 50 paise a litre. Many BJP-ruled states announce additional cut by an equal amount to give consumers relief of 5 rupees a litre. Government urges other states to follow suit. Decision effective from midnight. Vladimir Putin arrives in India, meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi. $5 billion deal for S-400 air defense system to be the focus of his two-day visit. 19th India-Russia annual bilateral summit tomorrow, likely to pave way for signing of 20 agreements in various fields. Digi Yatra initiative launched platform to be operational by next February will allow air passengers to travel paperless with just facial recognition at airports. Rollout at a few select airports including Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad and Bengaluru. Seven Rohingya Muslims handed over to Myanmar authorities after Supreme Court refuses to stop their deportation. All 7 were in Silchar Central Prison in Assam since 2012 for illegally entering India. And playing his first test against West Indies in Rajkot, 18-year-old Prithvi Shaw invites comparisons with Sachin Tendulkar. Mumbai batsman's 99-ball 100 makes him second youngest Indian centurion after Tendulkar. 15th Indian to score century on Test debut. India placed at 364 for 4 at the end of first day's play. Our top focus tonight, in a major relief to people hit by rising fuel prices, the government announced a 2.50 rupees cut in petrol and diesel prices. This after the government reduced the excise duty by 1.50 rupees a litre and asked oil companies to slash another 1 rupees. The price cut would be effective from midnight on Thursday. Announcing the decision, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley asked the state governments to match the move with a similar reduction in sales tax or VAT. Several states followed suit. Gujarat, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Assam and Tripura announced a cut in VAT of up to 2.5 rupees per litre to effect a total of 5 rupees per litre reduction in pump rates. The reduction in excise duty will dent central government's revenues by 10,500 crore rupees. In Delhi, where fuel prices are the lowest among all metros and most of the state capitals, petrol is currently sold at 84 rupees per litre. And diesel, on the other hand, at 75.45 rupees per litre.
इंटरनेशनल ऑयल प्राइसेस की जो इस वक्त स्थिति है वो बिल्कुल अनसर्टन है। ईरान में क्या होगा ये एक अनसर्टनिटी के दौर में है। ओपेक क्या करेगा प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज के लिए वो अनसर्टनिटी के दौर में है और इसलिए कंज्यूमर्स को भी पब्लिक डिस्कोर्स में इस बात के लिए जानकार रहना चाहिए कि ये जो इंटरनेशनल प्राइस बढ़ रहा है उसकी वजह से जो देश तेल खरीदते हैं उनको तकलीफ स्वाभाविक रूप से होती है। We will try and see how the currency impact can be contained, the series of steps which we have taken or which we may take further, so that once on either front there is some relief, that is currency or oil prices, that will be over and above this 5 rupee relief that we are proposing. 2.5 is within the control of the central government and of course the oil marketing companies, which will become applicable immediately, and I'm sure the states will also start delivering immediately.
Another important development at this hour, accompanied by a high-level delegation, Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in India a short while ago. Putin will hold the annual bilateral summit with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The focus of his visit will be the S-400 Triumph air defense missile system engagement. Here are the details.
On a two-day visit to India, Russian President Vladimir Putin will hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday. India will sign a $5 billion deal with Russia to get S-400 Triumph air defense systems. India wants to procure the long-range missile systems to tighten its air defense mechanism along the 4,000-kilometer-long Sino-India border. Both leaders will also deliberate on key regional and global issues, including US sanctions on import of Iranian crude oil during the 19th India-Russia annual bilateral summit.
I think all three elements will be part of the discussions. I mean, India's relationship with the US, Russia's relationship with the US. From an Indian perspective, Russia's relationship with China, will be very interesting. The Russians may want to give us their ideas on how India-China relations can improve. After all, we are partners in BRICS, and recently BRICS and SCO, and recently Prime Minister Modi went to Wuhan. So a lot of things are happening in the world. There is a lot of churn. So they have a lot of things to talk about.
Also on the agenda are talks to deepen cooperation in a number of sectors, including trade, investment, connectivity, energy, space and tourism.
We can discuss with the Russian government, work out an intergovernmental arrangement. We could possibly send thousands of Indian farmers to work on Russian land which is vacant. Nobody is there. And it's very fertile land. And the produce of that could be either jointly exported to other parts of the world, or we could bring a lot of it into our country. It would contribute to our food security. But over and above that, you would be also providing employment and wherewithal for many farmers.
Prime Minister Modi and Putin are meeting for the second time this year after their informal summit at Sochi in May. Putin will also meet President Ramnath Kovind on Friday and address an India-Russia business meet in New Delhi.
In this summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin will also try to ease out their differences over the issue of peace and stability in Afghanistan. Russians have been telling that Pakistan and Taliban are required to come on board for peace and stability in Afghanistan, while India has been asserting that their involvement will create further problems. It will be interesting to see that whether they agree to disagree or they come to any convergence. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Manoj in Delhi.
And for more on this, we'll go across to Mr. Shiv Shankar Mukherjee, former ambassador. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to Rajya Sabha Television.
Thank you.
Sir, what will be the key features of Putin's visit to India?
Well, I think this particular visit, there's a host of extremely important issues that are going to be discussed. The focus, media-wise, has been certainly on the extremely important subject of the purchase of the Triumph anti-aircraft missile system. But that should be seen in the background of not just this deal, but the entire global situation in which three very powerful contending powers, Russia, China, and the US, are locked in confrontation of different kinds, and the impact is certainly there in a very big way in India. We have, as far as the deal is concerned, we have CATSA, the countering of anti-American through Sanctions Act of the U.S. And there it'll be up to our persuasive diplomacy to persuade the Americans that this is essential for our defense. We have taken a decision on that, and that while we value our very, very important strategic relationship with the United States, the U.S. should, keeping in mind our national interests and our security needs, provide a waiver for this. I think there have been intense discussions between the two countries on this, and I am hopeful that a way out will be found which will be, may not be 100% acceptable to either side, but where both sides will come to our via media. I certainly get the impression from our government's statements and position that we are going to go ahead with this deal. But the Sanctions Act of the U.S. extends its reach to other very important, situations which produce a dilemma for us. For instance, Iran, which is our third largest oil exporter to India. We have the Chabahar port, which is of extremely important security connotations as far as we are concerned, providing an alternative route which does not go through Pakistan and access to Central Asia and even perhaps to Europe. We have separately this very powerful country, China, which is in contention for global influence and in a trade war with the U.S. We have also a scenario where Russia and China are getting extremely close and forging a strategic relationship because Russia sees the need to get closer to China in view of its deteriorating relationship with the West, which is at the moment is almost as bad or perhaps worse than what it was during the Cold War. So we are faced with a situation where we will need nimble and very innovative diplomacy to walk the tightrope. I'm confident that we are not helpless. We have enough cards to play. We are almost a $2.5 trillion economy. We are a major market, which and this cannot be ignored. We have if it's a relationship that that
Mr. Mukherjee, I have one more question. Talking about the India-Russia annual bilateral summit, what is on the agenda of this 19th annual bilateral summit between Putin and Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
A bilateral summit does not mean that we only consider and discuss that the heads of the two heads of government, head of state and head of government, will discuss only bilateral issues. At their level, they will be discussing the most important issues that face the country globally and bilaterally. So the subjects I mentioned, the Russian unhappiness with our strategic and growing relationship with the U.S., our determination to pursue our national interest and pursuing our relationship with the U.S. while keeping our traditional friend Russia also on board, our need to protect our national security interests from terrorism emanating from Pakistan, our situation in Afghanistan, the question of sanctions affecting us vis-a-vis Russia and vis-a-vis Iran. These are all subjects that are going to be discussed, including, I think, the subject of energy. Most people don't realize that we are major investors in Russia in an oil field to the tune of billions of dollars. So energy will again be a key component of the discussions. So these are all the subjects that are going to be discussed at the very high level of this visit, the summit level of the visit.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukherjee, for joining us and helping us understand this very important development. So there, Russian President Vladimir Putin in India on a two-day visit. He also met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and he was received by External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. High on the agenda is the $5 billion deal of S-400 Triumph air defense system. This is what is the focus area of Russian President Vladimir Putin's agenda of coming to India. What we spoke to Mr. Mukherjee right now, this is what we got to understand. Moving on to some other developments, air travelers will soon be able to enter airports in the country with facial recognition biometric under the government's Digi Yatra initiative. Civil Aviation Minister Suresh Prabhu termed the initiative forward-looking and futuristic and said it would be launched soon. The Digi Yatra initiative, which will be optional, seeks to promote paperless and hassle-free air travel. It is a biometric-based digital processing system for passenger entry and related requirements at the airport. The Digi Yatra central platform would be operational by the end of February 2019, and Bengaluru and Hyderabad airports would implement it around the same time. There are plans to also roll out the feature at the airports in Kolkata, Varanasi, Pune and Vijayawada. Under Digi Yatra, there would be a centralized registration system for passengers, and each of them would get a unique ID. Before travel, the airline would share the passenger data and the ID with the airport from where the passenger would be flying out.
Digi Yatra is a very forward-looking, futuristic initiative in which many times people keep complaining that there are so many boarding passes has to be stamped. So now we'll eliminate all that process, and only way people will be identified will be once those who are voluntarily offered to do that on the basis of their facial expressions and everything else, that is a biometric capturing.
To make it in a very lightweight regulation, very flexible and dynamic technology, and a phased implementation airport by airport. That's the technology problem, that is the real life problem that we've solved, which is, as I said, very unique in the world, and there's tremendous amount of interest in the design of this whole platform and the way it's been put together, including all of the privacy requirements that we should have under GDPR and privacy by design frameworks that are required now in the world.
7 Rohingya immigrants who entered Assam illegally were deported to their country of origin, Myanmar, on Thursday. The illegal immigrants were detained since 2012 in Kachar Central Jail in Assam's Silchar district. The government arranged their repatriation after reconfirming their willingness to return and with full concurrence of the Myanmarese government. Earlier, the Supreme Court rejected the plea made by one of the refugees seeking to restrain the centre from deporting them to Myanmar. Allowing the first such deportation of Rohingya Muslims to Myanmar, the apex court said they were found by the competent court as illegal immigrants and have been accepted by their country of origin as citizens. Last year, the government informed Parliament that over 14,000 Rohingya people registered with the UN Refugee Agency UNHCR are staying in India. However, aid agencies estimate there are about 40,000 Rohingya people residing in the country.
कुल 7 म्यांमार नेशनल को डिपोर्ट किया गया है, जिन्हें सन 2012 में सिलचर पीएस केस नंबर 786 के तहत गिरफ्तार किया गया था और इन पर फॉरेनर्स एक्ट की धारा 14A और C लगाई गई थी.
On to some other developments, the Union Home Ministry has ordered deployment of 25,000 troops for election duties in poll-bound states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan for peaceful conduct of assembly elections. Additional 250 companies of paramilitary and state police personnel have been asked to take position by 15th of October in states assigned to them. As per the order of the Home Ministry, 150 companies are being sent to Chhattisgarh, while 50 fresh companies each have been marked to be sent to Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. A single state police or central armed police force company has about 100 personnel. These companies are in addition to paramilitary forces already deployed in these states for conducting anti-Naxal operations and assisting in other law and order duties. Dates of assembly polls in these states are yet to be declared by the Election Commission. A group of about 40 enthusiasts with experience in mountaineering who are embarking on an expedition to raise awareness on cleaning the river Ganga called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. The group includes 8 mountaineers who successfully climbed Mount Everest. It is led by Bachendri Pal, the first Indian woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest. The expedition, which has been inspired by the Union government's Namami Gange campaign, has also been named as Mission Gange. The month-long rafting expedition group will travel through 9 cities. It will raise awareness about keeping the Ganga clean and will also undertake cleaning activities. Interacting with the group, the Prime Minister appreciated its members for undertaking the initiative. He underlined the importance of clean and vibrant River Ganga. He particularly urged the group to reach out to school children as a part of their awareness activities in the cities they are transiting through. And with that, time for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Security Scan. I am Vishal Dahiya, and this week we will take a look at Russian S-400 surface-to-air missile system, which is also known as Triumph.
Okay. S-400 will do that long-range protection of the country.
Okay.
It will take that burden away, the stress away from the Indian Air Force.
We can tackle in future wars the targets in multi-layer defense because of the capability of the missile.
It also gives the capability of its survivability in the electronic warfare environment.
Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his book Gitanjali. In 1950, he composed the music and lyrics for India's national anthem Jana Gana Mana. And when Bangladesh became independent in 1971, they chose Tagore's song Amar Shonar Bangla as its national anthem. Tagore's life and works have made him a cultural icon, studied the world over, even into the 21st century.
Welcome back. Education is a vital instrument of social transformation. It forms the foundation for empowering women, especially in a country like India. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu said this on Thursday while delivering the convocation address at the University College for Women in Hyderabad. He asserted that no country can make progress if women lag behind. The Vice President expressed concern over gender inequality and warned that subordination of women in various spheres will have serious negative consequences. He called for strengthening social, economic, political and legal avenues to ensure equal rights for women.
Education is for empowerment. So please understand that you are not studying only to get degrees. If the country can make progress, how can any country can make progress if the woman lag behind? It is needless to say that education forms the foundation of empowering women, especially in a country like India. As had been mostly aptly said, educating a woman means educating the entire family. Today, the women of India are more confident than their counterparts in the world. They are leaders of many Fortune 500 companies. They are also excelling as entrepreneurs, scientists, sportspersons, politicians, and even as combat pilots. They are also making the entire nation proud with their achievements.
And weather news now. The IMD has issued a warning of extreme to very heavy rain in Kerala for the next 4 days. Heavy rains accompanied by strong winds has been the forecast due to depression near Sri Lanka southeast of the Arabian Sea by tomorrow. Red alert was issued in Idukki, Thrissur and Palakkad districts and orange in Pathanamthitta and yellow in many other districts. Gusty winds are predicted in coastal areas and landslides and mudslides are also likely to occur in hilly areas. The depression is likely to intensify by Sunday and could turn into a cyclone on Monday. The State Disaster Management Authority has decided to take necessary precautions. 5 additional teams of NDRF will be deployed in Kerala in the view of the situation. Fishermen have been advised not to venture into the sea between Saturday and Monday. Chanda Kochar quit as MD and CEO of ICICI Bank on Thursday. Kochar, who was at the helm since 2009, had sought early retirement from the bank 6 months before her current tenure was to end. In a statement, the bank confirmed that Kochar also resigned from all subsidiaries of the bank. Kochar is facing an inquiry over the charges of nepotism and conflict of interest and was on leave since May this year. The bank further said the external inquiry instituted by the board against Kochar will continue. Meanwhile, the Chief Operating Officer Sandeep Bakshi is appointed as the new Managing Director and CEO of the bank for the 5 years till October 3rd, 2023. And sports news now. Teenager sensation Prithvi Shaw has become the second youngest Indian to score a Test century on debut. Playing against the West Indies in Rajkot on Thursday, Shaw scored a sublime 134, headlining the home team's march to 364 for 4 on day 1 of the series opener. At 18 years and 329 days, Shaw reached the milestone of just 99 balls, adding to a host of records he holds in his blossoming career. He had earlier made waves by reaching 3 figures in his first Ranji Trophy appearance and was the youngest to hit a century on the Leap Trophy debut. In the process, Shaw also became the second youngest Indian to score a maiden Test ton after the legendary Sachin Tendulkar. Playing his debut Test match, Shaw, along with Cheteshwar Pujara, laid the foundation for the big score with a 206-run partnership. This was after the early loss of KL Rahul. Skipper Virat Kohli and his deputy Ajinkya Rahane then took the innings forward with a 105-run stand in the final session, putting India in the driver's seat. And that's all we have for you in this edition of News Tonight. For more news and updates, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television. Namaskar.